Welcome to episode 7 of Pop Kannon. That's Pop Kannon with a K. I'm Jordan.
I'm Robert.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Brian.
Yeah, we're all here. It's our first episode since August. So, what are we talking about today, guys?
Nothing has happened.
In the time that has passed, nothing has taken place that is worth note, except Marvel's Netflix series.
Lack there.
It's just series.
Just series.
Like moose.
Right.
Meese.
Well,
Meese.
that's it then, because that's what we're gonna talk about. That.
Yeah.
Talk about moose. What? We're not talking about moose?
No, we're not.
Oh.
Or Mises.
What am I gonna do with all these notes?
And how much we hate them to be. Yeah, because Daredevil season 3 just came out. But prior to that, there have been quite a few seasons, actually. Obviously we had Daredevil seasons 1 and 2. We had Jessica Jones season 1, and then Luke Cage and Iron Fist season 1 that led into Defenders. And then out of Defenders, we had Jessica Jones season 2, Luke Cage season 2,
Punisher.
and Iron Fist season 2, and Punisher.
Yeah.
And a Punisher and a pear tree.
And quality has been wildly erratic.
Yeah, like a skeet shoot.
Yeah, it's been all over the place. I will admit I have not seen season 2 of Iron Fist, but I have seen Jessica Jones and Luke Cage.
Mhm.
And obviously The Punisher, which was phenomenal. But
Yeah.
that
I
it's all been downhill from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen the second season of Luke Cage or Iron Fist, but in my opinion, their first seasons didn't garner me watching the second seasons. Just an opinion,
Fair
not
enough.
forcing it on anybody.
It's just a shame that what did we say? It's like the first 4 episodes of Luke Cage was awesome.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of,
Then they had the flashback episode, which I liked,
Yeah.
but that's where a lot of people it started its downslide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The flashback episode for me it took me out of the story that they were building.
But he was Power Man.
Yeah, I know. It's the whole thing.
We
We talked in
Yes,
detail about
in
this
depth,
in
yes.
our previous iteration that you can find exclusively on YouTube looking on our channel.
our alternate timeline.
Andrew, which ones have you seen?
I have seen Daredevil 1, 2, Defenders, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. I have not seen Punisher, Luke Cage 2, Iron Fist 2, Jessica Jones 2, nor have I seen the majority of Daredevil 3. But damn, those first 4 episodes were good.
One might ask, why are you even here? No.
Why, Brian? Because he's physically here. That's why.
'Cause every group needs a weak link.
Oh.
You're stealing my spotlight here, Andrew.
So I have seen all of them. So Jordan just got one up on you with Iron Fist. So I'll just say that I definitely liked Iron Fist a lot more than season 1. I know that's a super low bar. Iron Fist season 1 was one of the worst seasons of television I've ever seen in my life. But I thought season 2 was actually really solid. It was only 10 episodes, and I think that helped a lot. It didn't have much of a dip. I thought it was solid for like the first 5 episodes, so that's half the season right there. And then it had a little bit of a dip for like 3 episodes, and then came back for the end. But regardless of what I thought of it, or who has or hasn't seen it, it's gone.
Canceled.
That's right. Netflix has announced that they have canceled Iron Fist and Luke Cage, surprisingly.
Luke
Yeah.
Cage, genuinely shocked that they canceled that one. But the only reason I could see them doing that is we're getting Heroes for Hire with Daughters of the Dragon.
Right. So that's what I hope happens.
Yeah.
Iron Fist was canceled first about like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there was actually like I don't know necessarily a press release, but there were actually like quotes from Marvel about that they officially wrote up something where it's like, the immortal Iron Fist will return. And then 1 week later, they canceled Luke Cage, and they did not have the same sort of release for that. They said, "Oh yeah, Luke Cage is canceled." Like that's basically all they said. They didn't say Luke, the Power Man will power on, or something like that. I don't think. I think they planned on canceling Iron Fist after season 2 came out, and maybe they saw that it got no views. I don't know. I remember telling you guys that when I tried to find season 2 after it had been out for like maybe 3 weeks, I had a hard time finding it under any of the categories that you would think. Like, because you watched Luke Cage. Boy, I thought it would have been under there. TV shows based on comic book characters. Sure shit thought it would have been under there. Netflix originals. I thought it would be under there. No, I had to go back to my list and find it on there. So that, and of course, then as soon as I got done watching it a couple days later. Then it was canceled. So that made sense. I don't know where I'm going with this.
They tried to bury it.
Yeah. So, so I think they saw that coming. But Luke Cage, what I read, and nothing's been confirmed, but what I've read is that there were arguments in the writers' room about how to proceed with it with season 3. That it was in pre-production, it was not in production, and that Netflix and Marvel was just like, you know what, let's just stop this now. So I hope that's where they're going. That it's Heroes for Hire and Daughters of the Dragon, because in Iron Fist season 2 they pushed Misty Knight and Colleen Wing teaming up a lot in that season. It was cool. There were episodes where they were just together doing stuff. So I feel like they've laid the groundwork for that. And obviously when in Luke Cage season 2, when Danny shows up for that, one of the only good episodes of that season.
Ooh.
Well, maybe not one of the only good, but one of the better, maybe the best of that season. They, obviously Heroes for Hire seems like a slam dunk.
And maybe they're thinking that the two shows are weak on their own, but if they combine them, it'll be the best of both of those worlds, and they'll be able to press it forward.
That's how I personally feel about it.
I hope.
I really like. Yeah, I think it sucks for like if people are going to lose their jobs from the production shutting down. But honestly, I was totally fine with each of those standalone seasons going away. Yeah,
and then you fold the best of the production teams together.
Yeah,
and half of each writing room. The better half of each writing room.
Absolutely.
And then you have a quality show, and you could do a 13-episode season and not have to rely on the hell of a flashback episode to take up an episode and a half, and
right,
and fall into the just generally a Netflix original trap, not just a Marvel Netflix trap of we have a flashback episode 3/4 of the way through a season because we don't know how to progress.
Right.
Yeah, halting all of the momentum.
Yes.
I've never picked up an Iron Fist comic, a Luke Cage Power Man comic, or a Heroes for Hire comic, but I want Heroes for Hire so fucking much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, having seen their interactions in Defenders, even though that sucked, that limited series sucked, but just seeing their interactions in that, and then their interactions when Danny was on that episode of Luke Cage season 2, it was so cool. I'm just like, yes, just do this. Just do this.
Yeah, yes.
The thing you've got to ask yourselves though is, since Disney is ending their deal with Netflix, since they're starting their own streaming service, you've got to wonder if they canceled it in order to put their show on their streaming service.
That's possible. I know. I remember reading something, and I've talked to a couple coworkers about this, and they read the same exact thing, that Disney had announced that they were not pulling characters from Netflix, so that they might go back on their word with that.
This just might be like the way around it, though. If the shows got canceled, they're not pulling it.
Yeah.
It's not that they're canceling it because of that reason, but I feel like that's a factor, definitely.
Because the cancellation is Netflix is doing, it's not Disney's.
Yeah.
So that loopholes them into keeping their word.
That's the only thing that could piss me off just as much as a Heroes for Hire not happening, is Heroes for Hire happening only on the Disney streaming service.
Yeah, really.
Fuck that.
Yeah, because there's zero. that's happening for me. So
Yeah. And that's not even going to be due out until at least late 2019. So it's still at least a year away from getting that service to be a thing.
yeah. Ugh.
That's a whole another
Yeah.
conversation, though,
Yeah.
about streaming services. Yeah, let's just hope that doesn't happen. But you might be right, because I saw that was in with a lot of the articles when Iron Fist was canceled, that was a possibility that could go to the streaming service. But I hope that's not what happens.
I really don't think Disney's stupid enough to go, you know what's a good flagship for our streaming service? Iron Fist by himself.
I just think it would be interesting to see how it all shakes out, especially with all the accolades that Daredevil season 3 is acquiring.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so.
But so it'll be interesting to see where Netflix decides to go with these series. If they just decide to keep it Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Punisher.
I hope not, because I honestly I want another Defenders. As much as the first one sucked, I feel like, much like with Iron Fist season 1, they're going to learn from that, and they would make a better Defenders. Because I don't know how they could have made a worse Defenders.
Well, maybe it's addition by subtraction. They just get rid of Iron Fist, and it's infinitely better for some reason.
But Luke Cage then not being, no, they've all four got to be together.
It's because that they didn't. It's because they didn't get Fing Fang Foom.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I knew that. Yeah, you were going to say it.
I steadfastly believe that if Sigourney Weaver turned into Fing Fang Foom in Defenders, we'd all have a much wildly different outlook on that show. Because they laid groundwork.
I know. The trailer.
There was so much. Even within the series, the way that she acted with certain things, and I think there was even a literal situation where she turned around in a room and did something with her fucking tongue. And I was like, she's a goddamn lizard. I was waiting for her to just unfurl wings and fucking fly away. She was wearing like a snake skin almost. Like,
Ms. Weaver, if you're listening, we do not think of you as a lizard person. Robert does not speak for all of us.
No, I don't think she's a lizard person.
I'm joking.
I don't think she's a lizard person, Brian. I don't think she's a lizard person. I don't think they took over the government, Brian.
Anyway, I'm gonna try steering this ship back.
Can I just say something real quick? Just about Defenders, because we've never discussed it really in this form. We've all seen it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we all pretty much think it was crap.
Yeah.
Yep.
More or less, yeah.
Okay. Well, leading into just before you start with the Daredevil season 3 stuff, Jordan, I just want to say, like, one of the things that I hated about it was what they did with Matt Murdock and Daredevil as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil season 2 ended with him showing Karen that he was Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So let's see how that dynamic plays out. And then they totally didn't pay that off at all in Defenders. You just find out he hasn't been Daredevil, which I personally just had a huge problem with.
Yeah.
And then he's been doing pro bono work, which is cool. That's fine. Nelson and Murdoch didn't exist anymore. So, and then it takes them over half the fucking episodes to get him back into the Daredevil costume, being Daredevil again.
Yeah. Well, the avocados turned brown.
You know how quickly they go brown, those avocados.
The avocados at law.
Yeah, I get it. Thank you. That's where I was leading into, and I'm sure you guys probably were shades of that, if not that there as well, leading into season 3.
Yeah, it had been so long since Defenders. When Daredevil season 3 started, I didn't know what happened.
Yeah,
He was totally fucked up, and I was like,
how long after does it take place? Did they ever mention?
I don't think that there's a concrete time frame on any of it, of how separate they are.
I mean, he's still really beat up, so it hasn't been that long afterward.
They give in the first episode. Well, I don't know. Jordan, did you want to say anything else before we got into season 3?
No, I think this is a good transition.
So yeah, season 3 starts, with you seeing exactly what happened when Midland Center fell on Matt and Elektra and all them dragon bones.
That was an awesome opening scene with just all the fire and him falling upside down cross into the water. Because I first saw that, I'm like, what the fuck am I even looking at right now?
It was cool, except it reminded me of the Defenders. And so we saw him at the end of Defenders. He was in a church. It looked like being tended to by a nun. And so that's basically where the first episode starts up after you see him having come out of I guess a sewer pipe or something like that, a drainage pipe, and washed up on the shore. And
really convenient that Father, what's his face?
Lantham.
Thank you. Found him there.
I'm pretty sure he said to someone, whoever did find him, I thought he said, "Bring me to."
I thought,
and then they got Lantham, So way to go.
It was like
I watched it on a plane.
It was I don't know. It was just some person that had been there, and he just said, "Get me to whatever church."
Yeah,
and they got him.
I just thought it was him. I don't know why I thought it was the priest.
But so they throughout that first episode, while he's convalescing, they make mention that it's been months, it's been weeks. Like they give you a time frame of like how long he's been there. Because they eventually are like, well, you got to go because
been here for too long,
right?
And you're taking.
But even Karen has been paying Matt's rent. For his apartment,
right?
Which was a whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's another time frame indication that it's been at least 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she's keeping his rent alive so he has a place to go.
Right.
While they don't even know if he's alive or dead.
That's really good.
I guess she's just thinking like from a hopeful standpoint, like, well, maybe he'll be back. Maybe he'll be back.
Yeah, somehow it's the believer in Karen Page as this season goes on.
Well, so let's just talk about overall thoughts, I guess. Like, what did you think about the season?
I said to you guys, and I firmly believe that this season of Daredevil is the best season of Marvel's Netflix anything. And I think it's head and shoulders situation where I don't think anything even compares. The emotional weight, the action, and just the tension throughout is just unbelievable. And when it finally ended, I felt like I could finally breathe.
Yeah.
So I think Daredevil season 3 is the best series that they've done so far.
I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. I loved pretty much every episode. There was no lull for me. There was the flashback episode. However, that even
it was only
it wasn't a traditional Netflix flashback episode where it halted all the momentum. No, it was like maybe half the episode was dedicated to the flashback, and it jumped right back into the main story.
And in the flashback, it was well done.
Yeah.
To the point where a lot happens. There's a lot of emotions coming out of it. And then you get thrown right back into the situation at hand, which was really tense and really emotional.
The most unsettling scream I've heard a male actor do in any work of fiction ever, when Karen's dad, so we'll get there. I agree. I thought it was the best season that they've done, they being the Marvel Netflix. I really loved Daredevil season 1, Jessica Jones season 1, and Daredevil season 2 almost all, not exactly equally, but I thought I love those seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But this is by far better than them.
Yeah.
I still prefer, I really love Daredevil season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people shit on because it's just like, oh, more ninjas, yay, more ninjas. But to me, Daredevil is fighting Kingpin, fighting Bullseye, fighting the Hand. So the Hand shit I thought was fucking great. I loved it.
And season 2 is that the first 4 episodes of
Oh,
that
yeah.
or a short film,
Yeah, basically.
like with Punisher.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't fault them for that. And then how they tied it back in at the end.
Yeah.
That was I loved season 2, and I didn't think that. I was skeptical that they would be able to top it.
Yeah.
And they came out of this one swinging
Oh,
for
absolutely.
the absolute fences, and they just went as dark as possible, as emotionally heavy as possible, and as just overwhelmingly tense.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were so many. I literally towards the end of the season, I think welled up twice and actually cried one time because there was so much happening.
Absolutely.
And out of season 1 Daredevil, I had a slight affinity for Wilson Fisk because I like villains in general.
Yeah,
I like when they're written well, and Wilson Fisk is phenomenally written. But going through this season, I lost all of that, but not in a bad way.
No,
but like they did the work to make you go, seriously, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
they really went for it.
Right.
Where you're like, no, he's an absolute villain, and I can't actually root for him.
Right.
Because when
the first season they try and get you into like he's sympathetic in some way.
Right. And this they just absolutely no sympathy.
He's just a bastard.
Oh my god,
he is such a bastard.
Oh my god,
there was piece of shit.
Everything that happens this season is just fuck him.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, and it escalates. It escalates in such a fashion,
absolutely,
where you're just like, well, if he dies, he dies. Like, who cares? Like, you know, like
literally, like, kill him, kill him, do it.
Good, yeah, let's do that.
I was with Matt like the entire time, and like Foggy's idea was like, we'll get him locked up. I'm like, fuck you, Foggy, you're wrong. And then Matt almost says the exact same thing,
right?
And I'm like, yes, I got it. We're together on this one. You murder that bastard.
But back to like generally, like, so you had said like, you know, it didn't have any dips or anything like that, and I agree. But I also think that this season, again, while it was far and away their the best Marvel Netflix season, it's the slowest season.
Yeah,
it's the least action packed.
Yeah,
there is action in it. It's sparse, but when it happens, episode 4, we'll get there.
Oh boy!
But when it happens, it's intense,
and
it's brutal, and it's protracted. So, you know, I don't think they had the ability for it to have the typical Netflix Marvel dip,
right?
Because it just was a very slow, methodical season.
Yeah, and even in the episodes and scenes where it was slower and there was a lot more talking going on than anything, all of that stuff mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Where in some of these other ones, you could have been on your phone for 20 minutes and really not miss anything.
Right.
Where in this, it's like, what did he say?
Yeah.
I had to rewind it.
I have to do that too sometimes.
What did he say? He had to. So that's what's good. And then it further pays itself off maybe 3 episodes down the road.
Right.
Where you get another piece of that puzzle because there's a lot of things going on.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so many balls in the air. Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew, what did you think of the first 4 episodes?
I thought they were great. Now that you mention it, yes, I've only seen the first 4 episodes of the show, but I mean, with those, I'm already blown away because, like I said, the opening was very eye catching, and then you get everything when he's gone deaf in one of his ears, and then you're like, wow, so yeah, he's done. Yeah. He can't be Daredevil. He can't hear. But it was also cool because I was listening to it on the plane and I had my headphones in and the right headphone was muted.
Oh.
I think the right headphone was muffled.
Were you LARPing? Yeah. I don't understand.
Well, it was, and I would kind of take it out like, wait a minute. Yeah. So that's awesome. That was just kind of a cool way to watch it. Like when he's talking to the sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just walking through the hallway and like, wait, what did she say?
That's great.
That was really cool.
That's great that they played with the stereo in that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's so cool.
But and then just, I mean, it's definitely the darkest.
Oh,
oh, absolutely.
And you did. No idea. I'm telling you, you didn't even scratch the surface of the darkness.
He wanted a guy to kill him with a pipe.
That's not even. It gets so much darker.
Like just when you think that like if you think that was dark, you have no idea.
Your heart's gonna hurt.
No.
That's how dark it gets.
But it's an emotional kind of darkness.
Yeah,
it's not even like
you feel all of it.
It's not like
Yeah.
gratuitous. It's just
Oh no,
Okay.
none of it's gratuitous. It's all there's payoff for all of it.
Yeah.
It feels natural.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just darkness. We're like, brood, do it.
Right.
We want you to brood.
No, it's in every
Smoke.
character. Every character
smoking yet.
gets the dark. Every character carries
Oh, absolutely.
a certain amount of darkness with them. Some of them it's an incredible amount of darkness. Ben Poindexter.
That's what I wanted to get to. Is like, can
Holy
we
shit.
just start getting into the spoilers for Andrew and for everyone else who hasn't watched it? So Bullseye.
Yeah.
Arkham Knight. Anyway,
so Agent Poindexter,
Yeah.
Agent Ben,
or
maybe
Dex.
AKA Dex.
maybe the darkest villain that we've gotten in the Netflix series yet.
In a way that like they make you feel bad for him and then you don't,
well, the whole,
and then you do,
Yeah.
and then you don't again, and then you do.
well, just that whole reveal when he's talking to the therapist. He's like, I have this girl, and this is this night, and we do pizza, and she eats broccoli and all that, and he's just fucking staring at her.
He's
watching
stalking.
her.
Oh,
They don't talk.
The
Wow.
pale gaze.
Yeah. But it was just like, oh no, and he's eating the same pizza.
The
she's
same
eating.
pizza.
The exact same pizza.
From the place.
with
Yeah.
that smile.
Oh.
With that creepy as fuck smile that we've all had, of course,
Yeah.
because we're all degenerates. But
Yeah.
no.
Each time we stalk
Who hasn't
somebody.
stalked a girl and ate the pizza she was eating?
Who hasn't? Fuck you.
Have you? I can't remember the episodes that you were through 4. Have you gotten to where Fisk is starting to get involved with Dex? Did you see the kind of the pseudo flashbacks
Yeah.
to Dex's childhood?
No.
Okay.
Nice.
oh,
The last thing was. Well, is it like how are they going comic origin, or I don't remember which
I don't know.
I don't know what his comic origins is.
where he has a
are,
brother
so-
and he has an abusive father.
No.
no.
No, they
No,
went a completely
Because
different way.
he had a
His
sister and his abusive mother.
Basically, Jesus
they
Christ.
just gender swapped it. We fixed.
Basically,
Different.
how I read this is that they kind of went that he's the dark Daredevil.
Yeah.
He's a dark reflection of Matt
Yeah.
because they're both orphans, basically. I can't remember what they said, that his parents died from a car crash or something.
I think so.
Yeah.
So where Matt always had people show up in his life and help him
Right.
and then leave him, Dex had people just never engage him. So he was completely alone until he found he had a coach when he was a baseball
That was
pitcher.
and that was
And that's where you find out about his incredible aim,
Right.
because his coach takes him out and he's close to having a perfect game in his Little League baseball game. And he gets angry with his coach and he takes the ball
And ricochets it.
and throws it at like the backstop or something.
Yeah. It was
And
a
it-
pole
A
on the
pole,
backstop.
and it ricochets and hits the coach in the neck and kills him.
Hard enough to kill him. Yeah.
Kills him dead.
Oh, that's cool. Good. I mean, it's not cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I mean, well,
Murder's awesome.
I know there's
But like,
in one of his-
he's also clearly a psychopath.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, because the kid felt absolutely no empathy about it. But what
No.
origin?
Well, it's just he was a baseball player and he was pitching a perfect game. It was just like, yeah, I don't want to do this. It's boring. And then he beamed. He hit beanball to the batter and killed him.
oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So they
That's
utilized.
not that far
Yeah,
off.
they
So
utilized that.
yeah.
And then when he's talking to a therapist about what happened, she's asking him for specifics, and he just was like, "Well, he's mean to me." So like he didn't feel anything for
He was
it.
just a jerk.
sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a jerk.
He's a jerk, so I killed him.
Yeah.
And so like the therapist like writes down like psychopathic tendencies and stuff
Yeah.
like this.
And then I think she also wrote like personality dissociative disorder, something like that.
Yeah.
She listed like
Disassociative. Yeah.
and she listed like 3 or 4 things just on his notepad, and then they have an interaction where he gets mad at her and she kind of, instead of pulling back, she kind of just
So they show that he's grown up with this therapist basically into like a young man.
She's the only thing that's helped him ever.
Almost as if she's his constant.
No.
I knew you'd love that. But you see in this first how they did this was really cool. I thought it wasn't going to be cool when I first saw how they were doing it because basically Wilson Fisk has been released from prison under house arrest, kind of in this penthouse, amazing penthouse of the Presidential Hotel in New York, and so you can already tell he's got all his little spider webs out. Oh, nope, wrong IP. That's fine. He's got all of his fingers. His fingers out into a lot of shit. So he's getting
fingers from the hand.
Yes. No.
His billy clubs.
His suit. His suit is
his cufflinks.
No, he doesn't have a suit.
His cufflinks.
No. So he's got a lot of shit going on already, and he's getting things that he probably shouldn't be getting in a situation where he was under house arrest. But he gets all of Dex's files.
Yeah.
And as you see him start to go through it, it turns black and white,
Mm-hmm.
and he sees what's going on. Wilson Fisk sees what's going on in the penthouse with him. So,
In like a Christmas Carol sort of way,
a little bit,
where he's like watching these things take place,
right.
And they're almost in the setting, but they're still in his penthouse.
And at first I was like, I don't know about this, but then it just kept going. I was like, oh, this is actually really cool.
Really
cool.
I loved it. I loved that sequence.
Yeah. So you see the therapist and a young Dex, and then you see the therapist with a slightly older Dex, and she is clearly not doing well. She's got like
the oxygen
and so forth, and she's talking about how he will have to have other constants in his life, shining points of light and stuff like that, and
a new North Star.
Yeah, and that she's not going to be around, and so he doesn't necessarily attack her.
He gets in her face.
Gets right in her face in a really menacing
Yeah.
way, and she's just like, "Are you trying to scare me right now?" I thought this. I just thought this whole thing was really cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I want to kill you." And she's like, "Why do you want to kill me?" "Because you're dying. Because you're leaving me." Like, oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a psychopath, but
but I felt it.
Or am I? I gotta go.
He's really working this out on air.
We're having a moment here.
And when that happened, you just kind of see that without her, he's not gonna have a good. Like, you already knew that this kid was damned from earlier, but with that interaction, he's really, really up Schitt's Creek mentally.
And then we go from that back to Wilson Fisk sitting with all the shit in front of him, and you know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. Wilson Fisk is like, oh, I just have to minorly manipulate him and take all the people that he might care about out of his life. Easy. Sold.
Score! I've got a hitman!
Yeah. And
Kingpin.
And then so the situation with Dex after that is that is it in the same episode, or is it later on that we see him holding a job as a person on the suicide hotline?
Yeah.
So,
that's the same episode.
So if you were to dial 1-800 stop me from killing myself, Dex picks up the fucking phone.
Jesus Christ.
And he goes, and he's got a script that he's got to read, and then there's a clear indication that he is going off script and convincing these people to kill themselves.
Yes.
And it is exciting for him.
But also he's using some of the stuff the therapist taught him.
Right.
Like to pretend that you're sympathetic and empathetic and stuff like that.
Really hard.
Yeah. He says that. They reused that line at least 5 or 6 times with him saying stuff to people. Because the therapist told him to utilize empathy and go just like acknowledge that they have it hard. So he's like, man, that's hard for you. That must be really hard. And he says that 6 or 7 times in the series because
that's all he knows how to do.
Good Lord.
Yeah. He knows how to fake empathy, not actually have it.
Yeah, like a psychopath or a sociopath.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's when you're introduced to a girl that he likes named Julie.
Oh, no.
And it's the girl who eats the pizza.
Yes. You find out that it's the girl that eats the pizza. is his boss or manager.
She
Yeah.
worked at the
she was
suicide
like a
hotline with him.
supervisor or something like that.
And he only worked at the suicide hotline for 1 year, and she worked there for 3, and he knew that she worked there for 3, and she never told him how long she'd worked there.
Did she ever like interact with him? Or...
So
in passing.
Yeah, at the suicide hotline.
Yeah,
because she was a supervisor. Yeah, she had interaction with them, but it's you start to see Fisk's manipulation because in the presidential hotel, because Poindexter is the FBI agent covering Fisk. He's down at the bar, and you see Julie like right behind him. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, how is she there? What happened? And you find out that it's her first day on the job. She just got a new job at the presidential hotel.
What are the chances?
Got offered a lot of money to leave her current bartending job to be a waitress here, and of course he sees it as kismet. And you want to go get a drink or something? Or
because he couldn't believe that she was there. So they go on a date.
Does not go well.
One thing leads to another. He fumbles over his words. He gets his stories all mixed up.
He's like, you don't have a dog. And she's like, how do you know I don't have a dog? And he's like, you worked there for 3 years. I know everything about you.
I also like
pizza. He's like, this isn't what it looks like.
Yeah. He completely unravels. His face turns red. And it's in that moment, I don't feel bad for him, but at the same time, there's like, you feel like the situation has become super embarrassing for him, super, like he didn't mean for it to be that.
Right.
But he needed, because he knew she was a good person.
Yeah.
So he literally was stalking her and pretending to use her as his North Star.
Right.
In his head, they had a great relationship.
Right.
So he's terrifying. And then he grabs hold of her, and then she's like, let me go.
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
And then he gets like, because he realizes he's in public and he can't just be grabbing people.
All I could see was just #MeToo comes up on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he just, my God.
He feels like there's no boundaries between them, but they don't even know each other.
Right. He knows so much about her, and he's so interested in talking to her.
Creepy.
That's so fucking unsettling.
Yeah.
But it's all because of Fisk, because Fisk is pulling the strings.
He's the fucking Finn.
And as the series progresses, you really start to realize how much control Fisk actually has, especially whilst being under house arrest and in the custody of the FBI.
With their help?
Yeah.
Well, just that whole scene in episode 4, if we may.
Yeah.
When Matt Murdock goes to the prison after stealing Foggy's wallet.
Yeah.
And just
Foggy hadn't seen him in however long he was missing.
I'd say it's probably going to be like 6 months.
Yeah. Foggy hasn't seen him for that long.
By the time that we get to that episode, it's probably been 6 months.
And he's like, Matt, like he can't believe that he's seeing him. He's like, are you really here?
Well, Foggy's drunk.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So Matt like reveals himself and he hugs him and he's just like, he says something to him or whatever. It doesn't even really matter what he says. He was only going there to steal Foggy's wallet, to steal his bar ID, so he could get into the prison.
The prison,
like that,
which is a horrible plan.
Yeah.
Was it Rikers?
They didn't. I don't think they said.
So.
Well, whatever.
Anyway, I just like that he's just fuck it. Leaves his glasses. He just walks sick, and it's just walking down the street now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting episode for a lot of reasons. That he just kind of put the blind guy aside for a second, and it was just being like, wow, it was jarring.
There's no more Matt
at that point.
He's just Daredevil.
Yeah.
But when he just gets in the cab and it's just like, leave her running, I'll be right back. It goes in.
He was not right back.
Oh God, that whole sequence when because I knew when he had to go get checked out, when the guy punched him in the face and he went to get checked, I was like, I know some big shit's going to happen. Did not expect
that much.
That whole scene. Because they were going for, I guess, once a series, or once a season, they do the
long take.
Yeah. The old boy treatment.
The quote-unquote long tape.
Yeah.
Well, and they just, when they were like, oh, we just need you to fill out some paperwork, really procedural.
Yeah.
And they led him deeper and deeper into the prison labyrinth. I was like, oh boy,
just walking him further
and further in.
So that was a great episode, but I really feel like that's where the writing, like, just one of the few critiques I have. I don't think Matt would have been that stupid.
Yeah,
That was a really dumb fucking decision.
yeah.
The way that I saw it was more like he didn't really have any other choice, and he needed to get in there to do that.
It was his desperation took over more than
Yeah.
any other thing in his brain.
It's not like he could have just gone in as Matt Murdock, you know.
That's why he stole Foggy's identity.
Nobody knew he was alive, and he wanted to keep it that way.
And he pretended to not have a picture ID on him.
So that brings up an interesting point. So, unlike, say, like in Batman, Superman, and Justice League, you know, Superman's dead, so is Clark Kent. No one knows if Matt Murdock's dead or not. He's just been missing.
Right.
Yeah. So he could have just shown up.
Yeah.
He could have just been Matt Murdock.
And they would have been like, hey, where you been?
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, but also he probably didn't want a record of Matt Murdock being there.
Fair enough.
But just when he walks in and then the guy it's like I knew the guy was going to attack him when he gets him a little bit with
the fucking
sedative.
Syringe.
And then he just fucking unloads on the guy, and then fucking Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey man.
Yeah.
What
What's up,
you doing?
bro?
What are you doing?
Got some stuff going on there in the jail, huh?
I see you, LOL.
And at that point,
Fox,
you immediately know, like, Fisk is totally in control, because before that he was still in FBI custody, and you're just questioning, like, how is he able to do all of this?
And that's the first time you see Fisk in the chair with the monitors, right?
Yes.
And then so it's revealed later on that the room he's sitting in is down an incredibly long staircase from his penthouse in a secret door in his closet.
So that when the FBI looks at his ankle bracelet location,
it says it's in his
bedroom, because he's just directly underneath his bedroom.
In a room with a bunch of monitors where he could watch the people he needs to,
including them.
Well, yeah.
But, Jesus.
Back to episode 4 though. But so yeah, that sequence was amazing.
That fight.
It was
the all the different fighting and all the interaction. Like it was a really well edited, choreographed. I personally didn't like it as much as the season 2
stairwell fight.
Punisher, and starts up on the roof with Punisher. You know, 1 batch, 2 batch, painting dime, and then it goes into the stairwell, goes into the hallway, then goes down in the where the elevator did. So I loved that one the most. But it was episode 4 of this was really good.
And Matt was using so much stuff in his environment, and there was zero concern for their well-being.
Right, just tossing people head first into brick walls.
The table in the hospital room, he just cracked that dude's neck off of it. Like, bang, done. I don't give a fuck. I'm out of here.
When he kicks the shit out of the 3 inmates, and then he's walking down the hallway, and it's the guys in SWAT gear.
Yes. Oh my god,
nightsticks,
the riot gear.
And he just gets in and is just wailing on him, and then just stares and looks at the guy, and then just one more knocks him out.
Oh. Mm-hmm. And then as they break to have that conversation,
light it up.
Oh, with the Albanian, right?
Yes, that was great because it pulls you back into why he's there, and then immediately
puts you right back out,
right into it.
That whole scene when he's just pulling him through.
Oh my god, dude! It was so. There was such a
stab in the neck, and
there's such a build to like. Oh my god!
I got a civilian.
Yeah,
shot so well.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Matt is getting his ass kicked. It's not even like he's handling it well.
He's on whatever sedative they put in him. He's still like fighting through all that,
and then the episode ends, and he gets into the back of the taxi.
Right.
Yeah.
And then then it ends.
He passes out.
And then it ends.
Yes.
Episode 5.
Yes.
He's in the back of the taxi. It's not the same driver.
No.
I saw the beginning of episode 5. I've seen that scene.
Oh, okay.
So, because the reveal is that he thought he was safe, and he definitely wasn't.
Wait a minute.
After all of that,
and off the pier you go.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
So it shoots
that's
him
where
off.
I stopped watching.
Okay.
Right when he flies off the pier.
Oh my god, dude! And then later on, they find Foggy's ID in the taxi, which implicates him in the prison thing because the taxi left the prison, and like everything starts to overlap in a way that you're like, how the fuck do they get out of this?
And and in that same episode, Fisk reviews the footage,
Yeah,
and you hear him say, "How can a blind man fight so well?"
yeah, and then that's where he
starts to piece that together.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a big thing that happens, and I think it's my favorite scene in the entire season.
Yes, absolutely. This is the one I want to talk about. Yeah, go.
So Karen is on her wit's end after the death of her
coworkers,
star witness, and the coworkers, and she loses her job, and she tries to go home, but they won't let her go home. She has a terrible relationship with her father, so she's at her wit's end. So her idea is to go to Fisk's penthouse while he's still there and locked up to get an interview with Fisk.
So
they let her
exclusive about his mother.
Yeah. A
profile on Fisk's mother is how she gets in the door.
So she's in there. She gets in there. It's super tense. They're face to face. He asks her to sit down across from him. It's very uncomfortable. He's very uncomfortable. She's very uncomfortable. But her whole plan was to get him so wound up and riled up that he would attack her.
Because if he commits any sort of felony or misdemeanor on just while he's in custody, he goes back to prison.
So she was I'll let the biggest, strongest man I've ever seen in my life assault me. And that's plan A for Karen.
She just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
She doesn't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I said, she's at her wit's end. She pretty much lost her job. You know, she lost all of her friends. She's got a terrible family life. She's got nothing. So in her mind, this was the only way.
And I think what the producers are really going for is that every woman wants to be just completely manhandled by a very large, big, bald white man. Sorry.
I think you're reading subtext that's not there, Brian.
What? Wait a minute. No.
So throughout their conversation, she's basically like, "I'm not here about your mother, but I know you murdered your father, and I knew that you murdered Ben Urich because I was also with him when we visited your mother."
Mm-hmm.
So the tension's winding up already, right? And you think that's it.
She keeps needling him about his mother,
and he keeps.
Yeah, he's got Vincent D'Onofrio in this scene. Actually, both of them, Deborah Ann Wall as well. Both of them in this scene, so great because he's got facial tics that he's putting there it's just.
Mm-hmm. And he literally when she said, "I know you murdered your father" or something like that. He's the Men in Black monster that
sugar and water. She can tell that he's not going to break.
Yeah.
She can tell that she's not getting what she needs. So Jordan.
So she asks him. She starts playing it up too. She's like, "Oh, that's a shame what happened to your buddy. What's his name? Wesley."
Oh shit.
and immediately the realization on his face,
his whole demeanor changes. It goes cold.
And she's just like, "He didn't disappear. I killed him." And immediately he's.
How many times did he get shot?
His cheek.
7?
His cheek is twitching.
He starts twitching. And
yeah, she's like, "I shot him 7 times, and it would have been more, but I emptied the clip on him."
Jesus.
Yeah.
First of all, fuck yeah, Karen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always wondered how they were gonna, because they kept it. The rest of season 1 and all of season 2 did not do anything. I wondered what that payoff was going to be, and boy, did we get it! Because this scene was, I think, it was one of the best of the season.
Yeah. Like I said, this is my favorite.
He gets frustrated and he's just like, and fucking,
and he stands up.
Yeah.
And then immediately the FBI comes in, along with Foggy,
because Foggy figured out that
what she was going to
do that and stopped her from doing it, because he probably would have killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Foggy was like, "I told the FBI that you were there to kill him."
That's why they came in and they arrested her.
Right.
to basically make her
to
start
keep
her-
her, to get her out of there safely, because Fisk was literally like
About to murder her.
Like he
So-
could have put a Red Lantern ring on. And been like, "Ah!"
So Karen Page becomes target el numero uno
Yeah.
for Fisk. She decides to GTFO.
Yeah.
understandable.
Um,
Go find the Punisher, get his help or something.
so
I'm so glad you said
so
that,
can
Andrew.
we get to that a little later?
But we're here now, Brian.
Okay, fine. Let's get into it.
I just
so, all right,
I
yeah.
really
This is
it
one
bothered
of my critiques.
it bothered me.
Yeah.
That because you haven't even watched Punisher, right?
Right.
Karen's in Punisher.
I knew
A
that.
lot.
And he becomes throughout that season very protective of Karen.
Yes.
And he damsel in distress rescues her at least twice in that season. And I don't want to talk about that season specifically. Just the idea that he exists, he has an affinity for Karen at least,
An appreciation, I think.
Right.
But yeah.
and she's in extreme danger,
And he's the fucking Punisher.
and he's the mother fucking Punisher. And
And
no
and
point does she even text his way to say, "Hey, Frank, if you're not busy jerking off somewhere."
No, he does. He can't. It would be too furious. He would rip his dick off.
Pennies, dimes,
Batches. Take this batch.
Everything leaves me.
So yeah, that absolutely is one of the criticisms I have. It was Punisher.
Yeah.
Also, so
Lack thereof.
So at the end of Iron Fist season 2, Iron Fist is out in Asia with Ward. So Iron Fist is not in the picture during this season.
okay.
Page is in Queens, or sorry, is in Harlem.
Harlem,
Sorry, is in Harlem. Jessica Jones is somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, Daredevil shows up and starts killing people. I would have thought
They know him.
that at least one of them would have been like, "Hey, Matt, why are you fucking killing people now?"
Yeah.
Like, just
Also-
I mean,
show up and
in-
be like, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
yeah.
They didn't know he was back
Yeah.
at that point.
Daredevil killing people, that made news. That was
Yeah.
there was
And that was a big
there's
focal
no way
point.
Jessica Jones doesn't hear that.
right.
I could maybe
That would have been national news.
right. Maybe Luke Cage doesn't hear about it somehow,
Yeah.
or however they left season
Right.
2. But Jessica Jones is on the ground. She
Even-
absolutely hears it.
Even if he
private
did hear,
investigator.
even if he did hear about it, he's a crime boss now, so maybe he doesn't want to go find his
sweet.
crime fighter friend.
Sweet.
But
Awesome.
Jessica Jones absolutely would have gone and fucking
Yeah.
talked to Matt.
Or even
Or
Punisher.
just try to find him.
Why wouldn't Punisher show up and be like,
Hey, Red.
"Hey,
Red.
see, we're on the same side
All
of
right,
things
yeah.
now,
Like,
brother," and
Yeah.
then they forearm high
so
five.
that is one of the few critiques I have, is that shit is not believable. But again, you forget about it.
You totally within the context of watching episode to episode, you totally do not think about it at all.
It's just after you.
No.
You're like, wait a minute.
Where's Punisher? Where's Luke Cage?
But anyway, I'm glad we got that out, because
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you said, of all the people that said it, you didn't even watch Punisher. You're like, where's Punisher at? So
Yeah.
So go to Clinton Church. Father Lantom says, "Karen, you should come up, and it's a mass. Even though if you're not Catholic, that's fine. You know,
we accept everybody.
yeah, it's good to get in touch with your spiritual side." And so Father Lantom starts giving a homily, and the camera is very centered on him and from behind him. And I was like, "Huh, okay, interesting framing." And Dex shows up. Karen Page.
He just kicks the door open to the church.
In Daredevil
Karen
garb.
Page,
like not even trying to.
not even trying to hide it.
Is he dressed like Daredevil?
Daredevil.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then people are like, he's back! And
the
they
devil-
freak, and they,
The devil has shown up in a church.
yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
And holy shit, that fight scene.
Yep.
Like,
Because
I imagine Matt gets there.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
he's
not
about
Karen
he's
fighting.
about he's about to kill Karen, and Matt shows up, and they start kicking each other's ass. Dex, for somehow, I mean, he's an FBI agent, so he's got combat training, but also maybe being a psychopath that much
He was a Marine too, you said
yeah.
before.
ex-military, so he can take a punishment. But boy, does he take a beating!
Yeah.
And
And
Matt just kicked the ever loving shit
It's
out of him.
it's the great thing about it is that they show you in such a way that when they're close up hand to hand, Dex has almost no shot.
Right.
Yeah.
But
As it should be.
when there's a small separation
And he can grab anything.
and he can grab anything, be it breaking the church pew and fucking throwing it,
grabbing the
Again.
collection plate.
yeah.
As
Oh
it's-
my
as it's
god,
tossing it.
the collection plate, fucking bing, fucking right in the face, knocks him over the pew.
So fucking great.
Yeah.
You see the money go flying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and no, it's a great. There's such a great little bit in there. That's
But Dex does get the upper hand in fighting sometimes.
Sometimes.
And gets Matt on his back and then goes to kill Karen. And you see the shot. Karen's looking at the camera and her shot, like a surprise, Father Lantom jumped in front of it. Dead.
He saved Karen.
Yeah,
He
he
saved
saved
Karen.
Karen by sacrificing himself. So
so
that
the
was-
devil murdered a priest in
Yes.
church.
Yeah.
And I think there were two or three others that he
Oh, yeah.
flat out killed
Yeah, absolutely.
there, but others were injured, and they all. So Karen's mission becomes getting the people out of the church
Mhm.
as Dex and Daredevil are fighting.
That fight was so brutal.
Oh my god, dude! It was unbelievable, unbelievably brutal, and it's more brutal than the one that they did at the news station, and
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
absolutely.
horrible.
Oh, and
Yeah.
only to be outdone by a fight later on.
Yes,
But
Yes.
we'll get there.
yeah. So they're fighting on the side, and Karen's like, "All right, listen, I'm gonna distract him because Karen is just like she's crazier than Dex. She's absolutely crazier than Dex. She has
She got
no
nothing to
regard
lose.
for herself whatsoever. She's like, I'm gonna cause a distraction. I'm not gonna like tip something over and make them look. I'm gonna cause a distraction, and you're gonna take these people and you're gonna run out of the church.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, Karen, get yourself murdered for us. The woman wasn't even like, don't, honey. He said your name. She's like, no, I got this. So Karen stands up and she's like, hey, and starts running down the pews. And Dex is like,
Grabbing everything he can.
and she dives behind like,
So first he's throwing like wood at her, like broken wood. They broke a statue, throwing a piece of the statue at her.
just furiously fast.
She gets his attention after Matt beats on a little more again.
Yeah.
He grabs a rosary bead,
Snaps it.
snaps it, takes the beads, and is using those as ammunition. It was so fucking
He
awesome.
peppers the beads at glass, and the glass shatters
Unbelievable.
Under her.
onto her while she's on the ground trying to duck
Dodging
from
all that. Yeah.
It was the stained glass.
Yeah.
Fucking
So fucking
Jesus,
great.
dude.
dude, it's
So eventually, they wind up in the balcony
Yes.
area,
yeah. Karen goes and hides up there first.
and so Dex follows her up, and he's looking for her. He's checking all the corners and everything. It's really tense. She's hiding. He eventually is shown like walking past where she just was, and he like looks, but she's not there anymore. Next thing you know, you see Matt go up, and him and Matt are fighting.
Matt.
But then Dex gets the upper hand, and Matt's down, and he's like ready for a kill shot.
Yeah.
And next thing you see is Karen swings a pipe or something, and it knocks him off the balcony.
It was a long, tall.
It was like a flagpole.
No, I think it was literally one of the things that they carry into the church on
Oh,
like
okay.
Sunday Mass.
Like a
This
cross.
cross on the top.
Right.
of it.
Yeah.
And she picks it up and just baseball swings into his chest and knocks him off of the balcony onto the floor.
Right.
She just knocks
How far
him
does he fall?
all the way to the ground.
So
20
yeah.
feet?
Yeah, maybe.
Because it's like in a church, like the balcony where the
Okay,
organist plays or whatever.
Yeah.
It's up there.
20 feet.
And he like lands flat on his back.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's how he gets. That's how he's going to get a reconstructed spine.
That's
Oh, no.
so she checks on Matt to make sure he's not dead, but he's unconscious. So she goes to look back over the balcony, and Dex is gone.
But also the shot from that scene is Karen is holding a broken Daredevil as the camera pans back and you see the cross behind them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the whole thing right there. That shot is the whole thing. It looked very similar to where Matt's holding Elektra or
Yeah.
Daredevil's holding Elektra.
Right.
That panel from the comic books, it looked like that.
After Bullseye stabbed her.
Right.
Yes.
It looked like that. Because Matt's like in her arms.
The
And that episode ends, but
right
the beginning of that episode
was the
was
flashback.
the flashback to Karen's life. The episode is literally just called Karen. And she was a
Ugh.
party girl in
Yeah, she was.
in college. She was doing coke. She was
Awesome.
drinking.
She was selling
really,
coke.
really heavily drinking, like Jessica Jones level drinking.
Look, no judgment, okay?
Drinking alcohol.
But basically, we see how she got where she is. The bad stuff with her family.
Her mom had died.
Mom had died of cancer, I guess.
Yeah.
And the family business was a restaurant that was going down because the area wasn't getting any foot traffic from a ski resort that was closed, and her dad kept making bad financial decisions and so forth. Her boyfriend turns out to be a total
drug dealer.
douche nozzle.
Yeah.
Well, he's a drug dealer. She already knew that, but turns out to be a total douche nozzle. And it just leads up to a night where her brother, trying to get her away from her boyfriend, sets fire to the trailer that she and her boyfriend are living in. Her boyfriend almost kills her brother. She grabs a gun out of her boyfriend's truck and shoots her boyfriend
in the like arm.
Yeah,
it was non-fatal, but she shot him.
Well, because didn't she say that to Wesley? Like, you think I've never shot somebody before?
Yes.
Yeah.
They get in the car. Her boyfriend beat her brother pretty badly
With a fucking crowbar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get in the car and they're just going, and she's freaking out.
She's high.
She's high. Yeah. And she's like, "Why'd you do that?" and all this stuff. And
he explains himself minorly.
I lost mom. I didn't want to lose you too. And then she gets distracted and hits a guardrail, flips the car,
kills her brother.
Brother's dead. And so that's when the father shows up to the crime scene, and not the crime scene, to the accident scene, and he goes into the ambulance, and she's like, "Dad, don't go in," and you hear him scream. That's what I'm saying is the most unsettling male scream I've ever heard.
Because he doesn't even acknowledge her existence at the accident scene.
No,
he didn't even look at her. His son died.
He was,
like, that's it. He didn't even look at her, and that was. It was so real and emotional and shit like that. And then the right after that, she's sitting in the restaurant, and her dad's sitting across from her, and he's not looking at her. He's looking out the window, and he's just like, "You need to go.
I want you to leave.
I want you to leave." And she's like, "What? Like, you lost mom, you lost your son, but you're casting me out. Like, you don't even want me here." And he's just like, "Yeah, I want you to go.
I can't have
you here." Because he's just going to look at her face every day and know that she was the one that caused all of that.
When the shit goes down with Fisk, she calls her dad to see if she can come stay with him. He's like,
"It's not a good time.
The timing wouldn't be good." Yeah,
he's literally by himself, but the timing wouldn't be good.
His daughter wants to come see him because she's very emotionally saying,
she's crying and shit. And
she's like, "I'm in trouble."
Yeah. So that's how you know where Karen is.
Yeah.
And that I think that was the best flashback episode that they've done.
Absolutely.
For sure. But also because they took half of it instead of the full episode to be a flashback.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Because when you come back, she goes to, like, her and father have a conversation, and then she goes to that mass.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's
following that, he's like, he's trying to explain to her, like, people are redeemable, this, that, and the other thing. And she's like, "You don't know." And now we know what she's telling him he doesn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of the shit in that church happens.
I had to pause it during season 2 when Ellison first asks Karen to be a reporter, because he puts a file down that evidently he said Ben had compiled, and it goes so quickly you don't really see it. But I pause it, and it was the clipping about the accident.
Oh shit!
So in season 1, Ben had researched Karen before working with her.
Wow.
And knew that she had been responsible for her brother's death. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
At least Daredevil shows deep.
Holy shit. Deep. Yeah, the Karen.
I need to rewatch all of that.
The Karen stuff
I highly recommend it.
It was so heavy.
Yeah.
It was so emotionally just like, oh, that episode ended and I just felt like such a weight.
So I have a question for Andrew, having only seen the first 4 episodes. What did you think of Sister Maggie?
I liked her.
Yeah, but anything strike you about her?
She was kind of a gruff.
Okay, well, I mean, she's a nun, so I mean, of course she's going to be matronly and kind of motherly.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, we find out about halfway through the season. Matt hears her praying upstairs while he's working out in the basement. She, prays to God about, having left Jack, Batlin Jack, and their son.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
I got to be honest. I saw it coming from this.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I saw. It seemed she seemed a little too
caring,
even for a nun.
I didn't even think that. I just
Okay.
thought he grew up in the
The orphanage.
Yeah, she raised him as her son.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And also it's her son.
Well, yeah, I assume she would have a motherly instinct over him,
right?
She helped raise him, but
right.
Jesus.
Yeah, and Matt finds out he's not happy. He was not a happy boy.
Yeah. So the next episode is basically a siege of the church by the FBI and Dex out of the Daredevil costume now.
Oh.
And there's several moments with Sister Maggie that you think oh, this isn't going to go well for her. Because now, of course, she's been revealed as Matt's mother, so now she has to die.
Because that's what happens if you're anyway related to Murdoch.
She fingers Nadim and Dex immediately.
Yeah.
As knowing something's fucking up.
Yes.
Because they come in there and they said that Daredevil escaped with Karen Page.
Right.
And she
and
no, in the basement, motherfucker.
And then they say, oh no, Daredevil's still on the premises.
Right.
And then she's like, well, no, I saw Daredevil leave, because she did see Dex in the Daredevil costume leave
the church.
And now Dex is back.
And then
not as Daredevil.
And then Dex was like, well, he came back. I saw him come back with my own eyes. He came back to the church. He's here still.
Yeah, it's probable cause.
He's on the grounds. And she's like, oh, it's you. Okay, got it. She immediately is like,
wait,
sure. And she's not even a detective.
They're eventually able to get Sergeant Mahoney. Mahoney?
Yeah.
He's
the
only non-crooked cop.
Right. They're able to, because he's on the scene. Because obviously there's been fatalities and the FBI is trying to claim jurisdiction and everything. They eventually are able to get him to take Karen into custody.
Dude, the way that they did that was so cool.
Yeah.
So cool, because Dex and Mahoney are arguing about who has jurisdiction, and he's like, it's a murder in New York City. It's the NYPD's job. And he's like, well, the suspect is an FBI. He's like, and when we get there, we'll hand it to you. But right now, she's a suspect in New York City, so we're going to take her. And Dex looks at Nadim, and he's like, will you fucking do something here?
And whoever the actor is for Dex is so great, because you can tell Dex is like, I'm going to kill this bitch right here in front of God and everyone.
Yeah.
I feel like, because he and Fisk, like, his relationship with Fisk becomes almost like a father and son.
Yeah.
He becomes like, he looks at Fisk like his new North Star. Now that Julie's not in the picture, and he doesn't realize Julie's dead yet, but he thinks of Fisk as that kind of.
He wants to perform well for Fisk.
So he is completely
driven,
laser focused on bullseye.
Not letting her leave, because his objective is to kill her.
Yeah. And Nadim goes over to Mahoney.
He pulls Mahoney. He's like, "Can I have a word, detective?"
And just whispers, like,
and he's like,
"Karen Page's not going to leave here alive."
Yeah, he's like, "If you don't take Karen Page, she's going to be murdered here. You need to get her as far away from us as absolutely." Nadim says this to him, but he's whispering, and he goes, "You got that?" He's like, "Now say yes." And storm out of here like we just had an argument. All right, bye.
So at least he's like trying to redeem himself.
He's doing small things to just push it off, because that's the only way he could do it, is to just be slightly incompetent.
Right. Yeah.
Because if he's glaringly incompetent or negligent to Fisk, he'll just kill him.
Yeah.
Right.
So if he just plays it off as, oh fuck, my bad.
Yeah.
he literally plays stupid to get himself through a little bit, and I was like, I like Nadim.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just got his back against the wall, and that's all he can do.
He's literally doing, and so they that was the thing too, where so Foggy and them try to get Nadim to they want Nadim to flip.
He goes and testifies in front of the grand jury.
And everything seems A-okay.
If everybody's high-fiving, Woo!
But you
We
know
did it.
It's episode 12 out of 13, so you know this can't be the end.
The next episode is just everything's fine.
Just hunky-dory rainbow
Yeah.
sunshine. So Matt hears
Quite the opposite.
the grand jury on the inside, because it's
As they're
just
deliberating.
as they're deliberating, and
One of them
one of the
stands up.
jurors is saying all of their names
And
the
addresses.
addresses. And he's like, "I'm so sorry. They told me to say this exactly."
I had to memorize it, and he says all of their names and addresses.
And Matt can hear it. It's like, "Oh God, no."
He's like, he got the jury, so the jury didn't indict him.
So Matt goes on his, well, he's got to die now.
Yeah.
Kingpin's got to die.
He looks at Foggy and he's like, "No, we tried it your fucking way.
Yeah.
I gotta kill
I'm gonna push this motherfucker down the stairs.
him." So that leads into the last episode.
Wherein
Probably the coolest triple threat.
So to get there,
No,
So
I-
Vanessa's back. Vanessa comes back.
Fisk gets Vanessa, and there's a bit of a disconnect between the two of them, where she feels like she's alone even when she's with him because it's all of his stuff. She's like, and when you don't talk to your people in front of me, I feel like we're separate still. I want to know everything, Wilson.
Yeah.
he wants to share his life with him.
Right.
It's
And
admirable.
if that means being a brutal dictator murderer in the city, well, God damn it, we're going to share that.
It's admirable, except for the murder.
Right. So Wilson goes, "You're right, and I have never loved anything, and you're the only thing I've ever loved. So sure."
Brings her down to the room.
He brings her down to the brain center of it, and she orders the murder of Nadim. She orders it because Wilson says, "We'll put him in prison. We'll let him rot. We'll fuck his
Yeah.
head.
We'll ruin his like reputation and all
Yeah,
this.
We'll discredit
And
him.
she's just
We'll discredit him to the jury."
Her line is Nadim a problem?
Yeah.
And he goes, yes, Nadim is a problem. Well, we should take care of that problem then.
And he goes, "You're right." And she goes,
Order the hit.
order the hit on.
And she
Nadim.
she orders
Yeah.
the hit, not him.
Jesus.
And so his underlings go, okay,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
It's always great when you can find someone you could share interests with,
Yeah.
including but not limited to murder.
Bullseye shows up at Nadim's house.
Who shows up? Bullseye?
Yeah,
Bullseye.
but it's Dex in.
It's still
Yeah,
Daredevil.
Okay.
And puts a bullet in Nadim's head.
They kill Nadim.
Oh, they do.
But the way that they did it was great though, because Nadim's out in his backyard and Dex is like, "Hey Ray," the way that they've interacted 100 times before, and he's like,
And
Ray's just like, you would have done what I did if you were in my situation. He goes, "Yeah, man, I know that's hard.
it's really hard.
It's really."
Ah.
And I was like, "Holy shit!"
Are they standing where like, you just gotta build the pool?
Yep.
Yes.
You know, fuck.
And he goes, and then they exchange.
And by that time, they've actually dug it out.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
hole in the yard,
Huh.
and he's like, "Why don't we go inside?" And
He's like, no,
"No,
you can kill me right here.
you can do it right here."
He just knows.
Yeah, oh,
yeah,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
And
Totally.
He knows
and he's like, I'm glad it was you or something like that.
Yeah. So I'm glad it was you.
because he knows he's going to be a great fucking shot.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not going to make him hurt.
And
But
then
even so,
they have a slight exchange further than that. And Nadim appears to try to go.
I think
He got it holstered.
He
He got it
got-
unholstered, right?
He got it on hold.
Yeah.
But, you know,
It didn't matter.
That's
'cause
just fucking
bang,
aiming
right,
But
right here. Like it
Where,
couldn't.
where Bullseye is.
Yeah.
It couldn't be more clear of where they placed that bullet. It was directly between his eyes and the center of his forehead.
yeah, it was great.
Like the perfect headshot.
but Nadim was even saying to Dex, he was like, Fisk is just going to use you until he can't anymore,
Yeah.
and then he's going to kill you.
He's like, he's going to throw you away the way he's doing to me. And Dex was like,
no, I'm different. I thought he said no, I'm different.
something
So,
to that
like,
effect.
yeah.
He's like, he thinks he's more special
Right.
for some reson.
Yeah.
So Nadim's dead, and they say that it's done and whatever, and they think that they've tied up their loose ends,
So
and they haven't,
Your Kingpin hasn't tied up his loose? Okay.
because he still has to deal with Daredevil.
Okay.
So in the last episode, Foggy is called into the FBI And of course, he thinks it's a death trap, which it could be.
Understandable. Yeah.
Because Dex is there.
Oh, the best thing that Foggy did was as soon as he walked up,
Took a
he
selfie with
took
Dex.
a fucking selfie with him and posted it on his campaign page, and he was like, "Just so you know, all 100,000 of my followers know I'm here."
Yeah.
So, where are we talking?
If anything happens to me.
Yeah, it was great. So they have Nadim's widow there,
Mm-hmm.
and Foggy. She says, "I want Foggy as my lawyer."
Because he was representing my husband, so I want my husband's lawyer.
So the FBI leaves the room, and she writes, "They're listening" on a pad, and then says, "My husband told me to do this."
Yeah, on his tape,
on
on his video, yeah.
Video he left, and she slides a phone to Foggy. Foggy puts it in his jacket, takes it off, takes out.
He's like, "Man, we're gonna figure this all out for you."
Yeah.
And he takes the phone and he watches it, and it is a video of Nadim in his house prior to Dex's arrival to murder him, dumping every bit of information that he had and announcing it as his
dying
declaration, which legally
is a legal term.
It is admissible in court as evidence.
Yep.
So now Foggy has this, and they're like,
and no one knows Foggy has it?
No. Nobody even knows it exists until Wilson Fisk's wedding at the hotel.
But before we get there, so I can't remember how Matt finds out about Manning, Felix Manning, but he finds out about this fixer. He's the fixer.
Yeah.
And he's able to track him down, beat the shit out of him, make him think he's gonna die.
Good.
Hangs him off the side of the building by his leg. Yeah.
Good.
Oh man.
So he just beat the shit out of him.
He ties the rope to his leg.
The movie tie rope. Right?
Yeah, and he,
no, not the movie tie.
But he just beats the shit out of him. The guy's like, "I'm not telling you anything." Spits out like 3 of his teeth, and he's just bloody. And Matt just whack right on his fucking face. Like, "You're gonna talk, or I'm gonna kill you, or you're not gonna talk, and I'm gonna kill you. So you might as well tell me something." And he's like, "I'm not telling you anything." And Matt goes, "Okay," and shoves him off the fucking building. And he falls with all of his weight, and then is caught by his ankle. You just hear crack.
Pulls like his hip and everything out.
And he screams, and he's just like, "Okay."
But even before that, he said, "I'll make it seem like you told me, and then Fisk will just kill you."
Right. So he gives up the beans on Julie.
Yeah.
As a pressure point for Dex, because that's all Matt can think of is like, I can't beat this guy.
Right.
He's got that armor.
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh, right. He's still wearing the Daredevil suit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's got to get an ace up his sleeve to beat Dex and
to be Kingpin.
And that's to reveal to Dex that Kingpin had Julie killed, so he could use him.
And he led Dex to her body.
Yeah.
So Dex
for whatever reason was storing bodies on ice.
Yeah. Whatever.
I mean, I can see him doing something like that.
So he
Dex might be useful later on for something.
Yeah. Dex rips open the plastic, sees somebody, and he's like, "Oh, that's not who I'm looking for." And rips open the other one and goes, "Oh, that's not who I'm looking for." And then there's one in the corner, and he opens up and he goes,
that one was just right.
Right.
And then you hear that audio cue.
But it was so much louder then. And it was so much more frantic.
Yeah.
And he's like holding his head and he's going absolutely fucking crazy. Because now he's understanding, because Matt was telling him on the phone, because he called Dex from Felix Manning's phone.
Yes.
So Dex answered it. And it's Daredevil on the other end talking to him. And he's like, and he's standing in the middle of the FBI headquarters, and he's like, "Hey, man, where are you?" Because Dex is insane.
Yeah.
And Daredevil goes, and he's like, "Oh, man, I wouldn't do that."
Oh, that's
yeah, we could meet up, sure. Like, the way that he's able to, save it around everybody is just, he's totally fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And so Matt tells him the address, and then he goes there. So Wilson Fisk announces he brings everybody there. It says it's a black tie affair.
A surprise,
but it's him getting married to Vanessa. That's the thing. It's a wedding. And he calls Dex again, and he's like, I just don't think that it's fair that Wilson Fisk gets, a happily ever after when none of us do. And Dex was like,
he makes a lot of sense, this guy.
So Dex shows up to the wedding in the parking garage,
In the Daredevil
In
costume
the
still.
costume with Julie's
with Julie's
falling
frozen
body.
Yeah, in the front seat. And
He's-
Agent Lim is the guy that's there, and he's like, oh my God, because he sees the Daredevil. He's like, oh! And he's like, hey, Lim, good to see you. That's Agent Lim.
He's one of the good ones.
He's one of the good ones.
And he's talking to
He's
to
talking
Julie's-
to-
He's
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Lim is like, Dex? And then he leaves her there and then just goes on his whole Dex goes on an
just lets him go.
No, I don't know if he kills them, but I think
he knocks him out.
He knocks him out at least.
But Dex goes on an absolute rampage.
Through
But-
the hotel.
Well,
he's killing guards.
Yeah,
He's killing guards.
making his way up to
Fisk's
Fisk's.
penthouse.
Well, the wedding.
Well,
He makes his way to the wedding.
oh, that's right. Because
So at the reception,
Yeah.
everyone's dancing, and then you see people's phones start to
light up,
and
it's the video of Nadeem giving his death declaration. Everybody at the wedding receives it on their phone as a video.
and
a text.
immediately after that, you see you see
Dex
Devil up on stage, grab the microphone.
He grabs the microphone from the band. He's like, I just want to say something.
He's like, me and Julie just want to wish you congratulations.
And Fisk is like, oh, shit.
And then he fucking throws the microphone at Fisk,
Yeah,
but it is deflected by Matt.
by Matt. So now you have a triangle situation where Matt wants to kill Fisk and Dex wants to kill Fisk, but Matt doesn't want Dex to kill Fisk and also doesn't necessarily want to kill Fisk himself. And Fisk is trying to just preserve himself from the two of them. So every time two of them are fighting, one of them will just bust through the other two.
Yeah, it's great.
Dude, it's the greatest setup.
It doesn't really hit until they're in the penthouse.
Right.
Yep.
And Fisk tells Vanessa, this is going down. You need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And it is beyond any shred the most brutal fight out of all of the fights that we've seen in all the fucking shows.
I don't know how.
How
How
exactly.
is it that much more brutal?
Oh, you have to watch it.
Kingpin is at that moment Kingpin. He's got his
Yeah.
and he is not holding back.
Yeah, he's
full blown Kingpin.
He's full-blown
he's
Kingpin,
screaming and punch. Oh my God!
Like the
He's-
Kingpin we
He tackles
in
Matt
Spider-
through a wall.
That's the ping. That's the
Yeah.
Kingpin we're getting.
What did you say, Jordan? He tackles Matt.
Through a wall.
Yeah.
He tackles Matt through a wall. He on the staircase of the penthouse. He takes Dex from the bottom of it and throws him up to through the first landing's glass onto the other side.
I like that they're showing how freakishly strong Kingpin is.
Absolutely.
He took a man upstairs with enough force to put him through plate glass on the other side and drop him down to the floor. I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy shit.
It was so fucking brutal.
I like when they show that how strong
Yeah.
Kingpin is.
Oh, the somehow the one of the chandeliers falls.
Dex, he eyed it.
Oh, okay.
Earlier in the season, Dex eyes that chandelier.
Oh, didn't he say like a nice chandelier?
He
Something.
fucking like they call to it,
Yeah.
right? It's introducing the shotgun in Act 1.
Yeah.
Like he calls to that chandelier, and Kingpin had just put Matt through a table, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Dex is up on the land, and he fucking fires something and hits the thing and drops the chandelier, but they both get out of the way.
Matt sees the chandelier. So obviously the theme of this season is just spontaneously getting weapons from glass objects.
Yeah.
Matt gets 2 glass batons.
Yeah.
Out of the chandelier is made up of all these glass
Yeah,
rods.
Yeah.
So,
So
now
he
he's got his
starts
billy
using
clubs.
Yeah.
Dude, it's great. So what happens to Dex is
And Dex keeps trying to kill
Fisk.
Fisk, but he also targets
Vanessa.
Vanessa, who is also in the room.
And that's where Fisk is like, oh no. And did he catch him?
Yeah, he
caught
fucking
Dex dove at him and he caught him across his chest.
Straight up
and-
call it like a 200-pound.
But we don't want to spoil the ending for you, even though we spoiled everything else. So make sure you tune in on Netflix to watch the final season of Daredevil, because as of today, it was canceled by Netflix. So you could probably find it in the future on Disney's upcoming streaming service, Disney Plus. How did you feel about Daredevil Season 3 overall? Did you like it as much as we did? Were you drawn in by the emotional pull? Did you learn to hate Wilson Fisk like me? Let us know. You can find us on Twitter at PopCannonPod. You can find us on YouTube at PopCannonPodcast. Don't forget that K. You can find this podcast across all of your favorite podcast platforms. Just search Pop Cannon Pod. And if you can't find it, let us know and we'll get on your favorite service for you. We've done it before, and if you like, you could follow us individually. I, Robert, can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Yesball. Jordan can be found on Twitter and Instagram at JL24FPS. You can follow Andrew on Instagram at AndroidSkeleton and on Twitter at flavored_red. And I was trying to follow Brian earlier, but I saw him wearing a red helmet and costume and he was headed into a church. And then I heard the screams. And then the police showed up. They all died. And they said he got away. I don't feel safe anymore. Don't try to follow Brian. People die. Thanks for listening. Tune in to our next episode.